All right, we are live, we are live, we are live. We are live, we are live, we are live. Welcome, welcome to Leadership Advantage Live with Joshua Triumphant. Welcome to Leadership Advantage Live with Joshua Triumphant. Welcome to the Leadership Advantage Live with Joshua Triumphant. Right. Um, Welcome to the Leadership Advantage Live with Joshua Triumphant. Please subscribe. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Please like the channel. Please subscribe. Like the channel, subscribe, and be a part of what we are doing. Like the channel, subscribe, and be a part of what we are doing. Like the channel, subscribe, and be a part of what we are doing. All right. So we will be discussing about the discovery of purpose. How to discover your purpose is what we will be discussing this evening. We will be discussing how to discover your purpose this evening. All right. So please join us, be a part of what's going on, and let's have a great conversation. I'm just trying to make sure I get enough people to join. Trying to share it. Please share if you are here. I'm just trying to get enough people to join. So please share it if you are a part of this already. Please share, please like, please comment and subscribe as well. Comment and subscribe as well. Join me live right now. Please give me a minute. Join me live right now. All right, so I'll be just dive straight into the conversation of how to discover your purpose. How do you discover your purpose? All right, so before we get into the how, I'll just go do a quick breakdown of exactly what is purpose, and how does a person discover their purpose. All right, just a quick breakdown of what is purpose and how a person discovers. Then we will now get to the full conversation on how a person discovers their purpose. So we'll be doing that very quickly. All right, so what is purpose? Purpose of a thing is the intended function, that a creator, that's what the intent of that the creator designed for how that thing should function. That's the intended function behind why a thing was made. The purpose of a thing is the intended function. That's the design function behind why a thing was made. That's the purpose of a thing. All right. So pretty much straightforward. That's the purpose of a thing. Is the intended function behind why a thing was created. The intended design behind why a thing was created. And it's very important to understand. Yes, it's very important for a person to understand their purpose. And you know, but there's a unique way I want to explain. I want to make a case. I want to make a unique case for this conversation of purpose tonight. I want to make a unique case for this conversation of purpose tonight. The conversation about purpose and self-discovery is a very critical one. Rightly so, because one must first know who he is to know who he's meant to be. So that's the first thing that I want us to talk about. You have to know who you are. You have to know who you have become for you to know who you are meant to be. You have to know who you are. You have to know who you have become before you can know who you are meant to be. That's a very, very important. So do you know who you are? Because my real conversation tonight is to be able to get you beyond the idea of purpose to the idea of purposefulness. That's really what I want to achieve tonight. Because there's so many educational materials, there's so many books, so many podcasts, so many articles, so many preachers message, so many, so many things, right? So many materials are available for you to, consume on how to know your purpose. So a lot of people are educated on how to know their purpose, but they don't actually know their purpose. A lot of persons are educated on the subject of how to know their purpose. So if you ask them, so how does a person know their purpose? They tell you, you have to pray, you have to read, you have to, they will tell you all of the steps to know their purpose. And this used to happen to me many years ago, when I started teaching and training early on, where we'll go into a class and we'll have a broad session about how to discover the purpose. And a lot of people will tell you they know how, they will explain how, but if you tell them, so what is your purpose in life, they cannot tell you for a fact. There's a reason why that confusion, no matter how educated you are on the concept of purpose, no matter how educated you are on the concept of purpose, there's a reason why there's still a prevalent lack of clarity around that subject matter. There's a reason why, right? No matter how educated, no matter how much materials you consume, there's many people, you will still meet them tomorrow, they will still tell you they don't know their purpose. Because first of all, there's a part of that is about a human being's evolution and how that evolution interacts with their understanding of themselves and what they are designed to become. There's a level to that, but this idea of, I want to know my purpose, I want to know my purpose, can become a distraction. All right, and that's what I want to get us out of this evening in this conversation. The whole point of this conversation is to make a case, to make a presentation around the idea and the evolution of the concept of purpose, and how I think, the next generation of thinkers and builders and business people and preachers should approach the idea of purpose. All right. So what are the misconceptions, or what are the prevalent ideas currently around the concept of purpose? So let's talk about a few things. One of the ideas I want to really highlight is the waiting idea. So a person begins to wait, or a person begins to anticipate a future, uh, a better future in a sense, and that in itself cannot be wrong, right? But when that's when your eyes is so fixated on the future that you forget where you are, then that's a problem. When your mind begins to play tricks on you that what you are doing currently is inferior, or is small, or it's a stopgap, and better things, you begin to reserve your best self for a future role, or a future appointment, or a future revelation about who you are supposed to be, then that becomes a problem. When you begin to reserve your best effort, your best energy, your best attention, your best skill, and your best foot forward, when you begin to reserve it for a future role or a future position, that becomes a problem. And if that reservation is sponsored by an idea of of a lack of clarity, or a lack of a sense of, I don't know my purpose, and that becomes why you are reserving your best self for a future role or for a future position, that in itself is a problem. So that is a bad assumption to hold about the idea of purpose, right? The other, that some type of work or jobs are inferior to the other in the grand scheme of things. You know what? Uh, I have a 9 to 5 right now, but my purpose is to be a CEO, and so because of that, my current 9 to 5, I'm just winging my way through. I'm just floating through it until such a time when I come into this the so-called purpose for my life. That thinking is a terrible thinking. And what you are learning is to function in reverse, is to if you spend 10 years in that role, what you are learned in that 10 years is to know is to you have learned how to wing it. There's nothing you will do in the future that you will be able to automatically revert into your best effort. You will never be able to do that. All right. So that thinking in so many people's mind is a terrible thinking, and is impacting on the level of productivity a person is able to display over a period of time. All right. It's going to seep through your whole life and weaken your capacity to do any meaningful work. All right. So that's a very bad assumption to hold about the idea of purpose. Another idea about purpose is a question that I like to ask, right? Do you know who you are currently enough to know who you are meant to be? Okay, you want to know who you are supposed to be. There's a person, there's a picture you are supposed to be that you want to know. But do you know enough about who you are currently to enable you to know enough about who you are supposed to be? What is the level of your self-awareness currently? Not about your future self, not about a future job or a future role, a so-called future purpose that you are going to figure out. Not that. Okay, maybe that's in the future. But do you know enough about yourself today? Do you know enough about who you are today or who you have become today for you to begin a journey into becoming who you are supposed to be? All right. So there is a task in front of you about who you are today. It's a task in front of you about who you are today. How are you handling that task? Do you understand the breakdown of all the roles that you are currently playing? Because you are playing a couple of roles already. All right. If you are born a man, if you are born a male in this world, you are a man, you are a son, you are going to be a husband, you are going to be a father, you are a man, you are a male, so you are a son, you are somebody's brother, you're somebody's cousin. Those are roles they have been playing. All right. In the process of development, you have gone through primary school, secondary school. Those are roles you have been playing in. I was speaking to a group of students a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling them that how do you spend 4 years winging it and expect to automatically become the savior of the world when you graduate? You are not paying attention in school in the roles that you are currently playing. You are not purposeful enough in that role. You are not getting all the things you're supposed to get in that current role. But you have your eyes on the future about a new role, a future role that you're going to become. There's something wrong with this idea of how that your life is not in a sense working properly, or something is wrong with you currently until you figure out a particular thing, a tag, a particular role, a particular position, a particular idea about your future self, and then that's when you begin to work towards that. I believe strongly that something is wrong with that thinking. Something is definitely wrong with that thinking. All right. So, do you know enough about your current self? Do you know what's the level of your self-awareness? Do you understand clearly the amount of work that it takes to understand who you are currently before you get to even know who you are supposed to be? All right. So these are very important things to begin to ask yourself. Another thing is to begin to sit idle or to begin to walk with the slack hand. And I mentioned that in the first point. You begin to sit idle and walk with a slack hand. All right. In anticipation of a discovery about about what your purpose is in life and what you're supposed to be. Something is definitely wrong with that idea. All right. So another thing, again, you begin to sit on your, what is lay down idle, and then you begin to work with a slack hand in anticipation. Nobody will reward you for working idly and working with a slack hand because you are waiting for a future picture of yourself. Nobody will reward you that, and God will not reward you with that. God will not reward you with any new image or any new picture of your life if you continue to work with a slack hand in anticipation of a future revelation about who you are supposed to be. All right, so that's very important. Do not sit idle and wait in the name of discovery of your purpose. So those are very important. Another thing I want to mention is the idea that another thing I want to mention is a point that Dr. Miles Monroe is, the late great Dr. Miles Monroe is very famous for saying, if the purpose of a thing is known, abuse is if the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. And that's true. But I think it's incomplete, because again, if the purpose of a thing is known, abuse is still possible. There are many people who know the purpose of many things that you own. There are many people who know the purpose of many things that they own, but they are still abusing themselves. They're still abusing. There are people who know the purpose. You know the purpose of your body, but you are still abusing it. You know the purpose of there are so many things that you know the purpose of in your life currently that you are still abusing. There are so many things that you know the purpose of today that you're abusing. One of those things is, if you go into a person's room today, if you probably the door of their house, they are using it to hang clothes. Is that the purpose of the door? There are so many aspects of people's life who they know. So yes, if the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. I'm saying if the purpose of a thing is known, abuse is still inevitable. It's still possible for you to abuse your life, abuse the people around you, abuse your current position, even if you know the purpose or you understand the purpose of it. It's the point I'm trying to make, right? So you have to be able to move beyond the idea. You have to be able to move beyond the idea of your understanding of purpose. The superior position to hold is the idea of purposefulness. Is the idea of purposefulness. Because nobody became great just by the discovery of their purpose. Nobody became great just by the discovery of their purpose. You still have to add virtues that contribute to production. You must still embrace the virtues that contribute to production. You must still embrace it. At the end of the day, you must come face to face with the fact that knowing your purpose is not a factor of production, right? You must still embrace the virtues that truly lead to creating anything big in life. What's the quality of your leadership? How great is your thinking? How knowledgeable are you about the purpose itself that you are trying to discover or you have discovered? How great are you people? Do you understand the process of product development? The thing you have discovered, is it a service or is it a product? Do you have to package it? Do you have to use social media? What's your distribution endpoint? Do you have the budget for it? What's the MVP of it? These are all questions you must still have to answer, even if you discover it. Why not then invest yourself and gain motion and continuous movement in your journey and make sure you are making the highest level of contribution possible, you are accumulating the highest level of knowledge possible, and you are doing the best work possible in the current role? These are very important questions that you must ask, right? You must understand. These are very important things you must know, right? That even if the purpose of the thing is known, it's still possible that you don't get to achieve anything. There are many people who know their purpose, but they're still wallowing away in certain excuses. They still have all kinds of excuses about why they're not deploying their best energy in direction of the achievement of that. All right. So these are very critical points I just wanted to bring out. I've met people in my life, in my journey, who currently are sitting on their hand. They are working with a slack hand because of a promise of a future that they are trying to identify in their life. They are working with a very, very slack hand because of the promise of a future they're trying to identify in their life. It's a very critical point to make. All right? Do not work in the slack hand. Do not work in the slack hand. All right? So these are very, very, very critical points that I wanted to make. As we proceed. All right. So let me just bring up some other idea as to so there's a lot of knowledge gap, a lot of okay, so another point is this confusion about what a gift and talent is. That's another issue that impacts on the possibilities that a person begins to imagine around the concept of purpose. What is a person's gift? What's a person's talent? You know, if you grew up in a church or you grew up in some type of middle class environment, all right, part of the primary level of this conversation is: can you sing? Can you dance? Can you act? These are the big threes. The big three of gift and talent. These are the big threes of gift and talent. And can you sing? Can you act? Can you dance? What are the other things? Maybe because in this new digital first world right now, there are more other things. There are other things. But how does a person conceive ideas like my purpose is to become a content creator? How I want you to think about how we are educating ourselves and how exactly we are limiting the possibilities in people's life. What are the elements that come together for a person to conceive in his soul these new agendas and new possibilities that already exist? All right. What are the things? What are the possibilities that exist? How will you conceive these new realities? How will you conceive them? These new realities. How will you know? How will you conceive? Was 5 years ago, when you were 5 years in, can you conceive the fact that your purpose is to be a prompt engineer or to be a digital marketer? when before it became a thing. You see, so there's just this vagueness and this miseducation, wrong education around this conversation about how people discover their purpose. There are certain things that come together for you to end up finding purposefulness around a job, a role, a message, a ministry, an NGO work, or something. There are so many factors that play in before that level of clarity and conviction is unlocked within a person's soul around the possibility of his purpose in that direction. There are so many things. All right. It's the same thing around the concept of doctors, doctor, engineers, and lawyers. What do you want to be when you grow up? There's the big threes or the big five. What do you want to be when you grow up? As a child, and then depending on the kind of family the person grew up in, there are certain basic things that he was going to come up with. So what is the source of the inspiration that influences the definition of purpose in a person's life? What is the source of the inspiration? What is the source of the inspiration? If you become great at something right now, it becomes a tool. There are the people who work in, I'd like to use church for example, the people who work in, let's say, the media unit of a church, all right, how did they conceive that being a media person is the purpose of their life? How did they conceive that? That being a media person is the purpose of their life, but it serves a purpose in church, but it's applicable, it's being used. So these are very important questions, right? When the person was younger, or when the person was praying, or when the person was being inspired by whatever source of inspiration, how did the person come up? Did God speak to you about becoming a prompt engineer or becoming a videographer or it is a simple deployment of the purposefulness that is contained within the person's soul that helps him evolve in life, and he begins to identify places and positions that serve his highest interest and helps him make the highest contribution on this earth. That is the journey. The consistent deployment of your highest effort in a direction helps you identify how that thing serves your highest interest or helps you make the greatest contribution in life. This is it. And when it comes down to it, this is the journey. The journey is to constantly evolve by learning. A person can grow up saying he wants to become this and go into university and end up identifying some other thing. And then that evolution continues to happen in the person's life. And the person is able to then, over a journey of consistent deployment of his best self in any given direction that is in front of him, he's able to identify what serves his highest interest on the earth, whether it is economic interest, whether it is pleasurable, his interest of pleasure, or his or her interest of contribution. What serves his highest interest, then what helps him make his greatest contribution. It is that evolution that helps to identify moments in your life that defines your greatest contribution to humanity. All right? So what are these big three? They're always surrounded with, all create the sort of inspiration for what defines what you call the purpose in life. All right, so what is a gift and what is a talent? All right, so for someone like me who never could find my place in singing or acting or dancing, I remember me and my brothers my parents sent us to music school to go and learn how to. I couldn't learn anything. I couldn't do focus. I couldn't really get. I went to music school. I come back. I did not learn anything. I grew up around siblings who were always better than me at a lot of things. Like, my brothers could play the keyboard, they could play the drum set, they could sing, they could dance, they could do so many things that I couldn't do. I couldn't figure it out, right? I couldn't really figure it out. And there are so many people like that. You can't find your place in the so-called big threes and big five of so many purpose identification markers, right? You can't find your place so easily, right? Once you can't sing, you can't dance, you can't act, which are the big threes of creativity or gift and talent. Actually, when I was growing up, I don't know about it now, but the big three of talent identification when we were growing up was always, can you sing, can you act, can you dance? And if you couldn't do any of those two or any of those three things, your life was just meaningless. Obviously, you have been resigned to fail in life if you can't do those things, right? But that in itself is a distraction. because singing is not a talent, it's not a gift. The singing itself is not a gift or a talent. Dancing itself is not a gift or a talent. These are skills that you can learn. You can learn how to sing now. You can learn how to sing, you can learn how to dance, you can learn how to rap, you can learn how to skate, you can learn how to play football, you can learn how to. People go through the academics because of this weak environment we're living in, where there's no structured development for a lot of aspect of our growing up. So you have to then become an adult to start looking for divine encounters to identify things that you could have identified and developed yourself in growing up, and you'll have figured out the areas that supply your highest, that serve your highest interest in life and gives you the highest opportunity to make contributions. Singing is not a gift. It's not a talent per se. Now, there are natural abilities in a person's life that allows the person to develop the skill of singing more naturally than others. There are natural abilities. There are natural abilities in a person's life that allows him develop the gift and talent or the skill of dancing or singing or skateboarding or playing football or playing instruments. There are certain natural abilities the person possesses that allows him to do those things better and quicker than other people. Then that person is able to identify that he has a talent or he has a gift enabled by that natural ability in different areas of their life. I want you to think about it. I want you to really think about it. Because there are different levels of natural abilities. There are different levels and different types of natural abilities. And the most distracting ones are the singing and dancing, and it's so distracting because once you are not able to identify, or you do not have the natural ability that allows you to sing. I can sing when I'm having my personal time or having a pleasurable moment. I can sing, but I can't sing to people, and a lot of people can do that. All right, so hold on, I'm trying to send this mail. Invite somebody else. All right, so I want you to open your mind. A singer can have a natural ability in their diaphragm and their ability to breathe and hold their breath that allows them become better singers than others. While the other person can have a different natural ability. For instance, what's the natural ability that helps a person become a great swimmer? If you go and analyze the life of Michael Phelps and other great swimmers, you will find that there are certain natural abilities in their skin. There's something about how they are as humans that makes them become. What about athletes? What about athletes? A basketball player like LeBron James is 250, is 240, 250. He weighs 240, 250. He can jump, he can run, he has pace, he has speed, he has vertical ability, he has spatial ability, he has the mind for the game. He has so many things that is a natural ability that makes him become a great basketball player. Compare him and another basketball player like Steph Curry, who cannot run as fast as LeBron, cannot jump as high. I don't think I've ever seen Steph dunk the basketball. He cannot jump as high as LeBron James. He's not strong and the strength and agility of LeBron James. But he is a great basketballer in his own right because he has his own natural ability that allows him able to shoot the ball at the rate at which he shoots it. And he actually had to learn the skill of shooting the ball. When the ball leaves his hand, he always says that he knows the ball that goes in way before he leaves his hand. There's a natural ability that causes things. Athletes are different, all right? How about the last example? The difference between like a Cristiano Ronaldo and a Lionel Messi. There's a difference in the natural ability a person has that helps him develop the talent and the gift or the skill in different areas, right? So what's the natural ability that makes a person a great chef? What's the natural ability that makes a person a great chef? You must have strong mind-feet connection. You must have strong mind-feet hand connection. That is a natural ability. Some have it more than the other. You must have, for you to be a great speaker, you must have mind-mouth. It's very strong mind-mouth connection. You must have a very strong mind-mouth connection. All right. So there are diverse natural abilities that allows a person function and develop, certain skills faster and better than the other people. All right. Now, if you don't know this, let's say you're a parent right now, your child is displaying certain natural abilities yet, but you are not educated correctly to know them. So if he's not playing an instrument or singing or dancing, does that mean he's not gifted or talented? No, it's because you do not have the correct to identify what the natural ability is displaying is, and how to connect that natural ability to the resultant skill or talent that you can develop. This is a very, very important mind shift in the conversion of purpose discovery. Can you identify natural ability in the person that is not about singing or dancing? Can you identify it? Can you identify it in yourself? Can you identify it in yourself? I first heard this. I first heard this um from I first read about this different type of um natural abilities from in the book Gifted Hands by in the book Gifted Hands um by Ben Carson. Talked about a strong mind, feet, and hand connection. How he's able to, even with his eyes closed, do some surgery. And I found it to be very, very interesting. I truly, truly found it to be very interesting. All right. So let's go forward. All right. So what are the five? Maybe I might touch it. Maybe I might not be able to finish it. But what are the five ways that a person discovers his purpose in a sense? What are the real five ways? Real five ways. All right. What are the five ways a person discovers his purpose in a sense? All right. Okay. So one of the ways is a defining moment, and that's true. There are defining moments in a person's life. All right. It can be a crisis, a defining moment. It can even be a heartbreak. It can be a heartbreak. It can actually be a heartbreak. A person can break your heart and he helps you, and then that pain puts you in a position where you are able to discover your purpose. It's gonna be a heartbreak, right? It can be a heartbreak, and at once, I mean, a lot of people experience heartbreaks and they discover their purpose very quickly. Once a person breaks it alters a person's soul and the person becomes really sober, and quickly they begin to discover their heartbreak. So one of the ways through which a person discovers, through which purpose reveals itself to a person, is it can be a defining moment, a defining moment, through a critical defining moment, right? It can be a crisis, it can be a conversation. You are listening to a tape, you are listening to a message, you are listening to a person, you are reading a book, and something jumps out really practically to you. All right. It can be an encounter, depending on um, who you are, where you are, or how matured you are. It can be an encounter. It can be a divine encounter with God. It can be an encounter with new knowledge, with new information, with new people. It can be an encounter uh, that forces your absolute clarity about who you are and what you are supposed to be doing. All right, it can be a definement. Now, the problem I have is a lot of people want it to be a defining moment. A lot of people want it to be a defining moment. In fact, a lot of people already have certain things that they are supposed to be doing that they know that they are great at. They know they have a natural ability to have developed, or they grew up in a family with a particular set of skill that is probably almost hereditary. All right. You grew up with a father who is a good trader, and from when you were a child, they have been introducing you to the concept of trading. And right now, you can go back and forth the idea of trading, and then you are ready. No, a lot of people want it to be a dramatic defining moment. A dramatic defining moment. That's all they want to be. A dramatic defining moment. And the fact that a lot of people are stuck on wanting their discovery of purpose to be a dramatic defining moment is the reason why they have become paralyzed by this assumption that all discovery of purpose must be dramatic and must be earthquaking and fire consuming and ground shaking and body trembling moments of their life. And then they will hear a mighty voice or a strange dream encapsulates what they are trying to, who they are supposed to be. Foul. Only a small percentage of humans will have this experience. This is an exception now. It's not the rule. Only a small percentage of humans will have this experience. Tiny percent of humans will have this experience. So one of the ways is through defining moment, but it is hardly, in fact, it is selected. You either have it or you don't have it. All right. And a lot of people get distracted. One of the experiences that is popular in terms of this as a Christian is I was in an 18 hours vision, and that became a thing over a period of time, and that became the premise upon which this conversation is being had. No, not everybody's journey will be unveiled to them through a defining moment, a crisis, and a conversation or an encounter. Not everybody's moments will be that. Right? So identify yours and navigate your life correctly. In fact, I always advise that you don't expect your journey, your clarity to come to you through defining moments. All right, so that's one way to find it. Number one way to discover your purpose is through defining moments. The other ways is through an inherited skill, an inherited calling, or an inherited learning. For instance, right now, if you follow football or you follow basketball, all right, you see that the kids of basketball players and the kids of football players are all what? Learning. They are already in the system. Lionel Messi's son is in the system. Cristiano Ronaldo's son is in the system. Did they have to do any extra work to define their purpose? No. They've inherited a calling. Bishop Oyedepo's son is a ministry. They've inherited a calling. They've inherited something about what their parents were heavily invested in doing. It could be the genetics, which is the natural abilities that allows them to do that better, or it could be the environment and how early they were exposed to it. It could be that. And then because they were exposed early and they have engrossed into that environment, they are able to develop and identify it very quickly enough and able to accelerate their growth in that space faster and better than anybody. LeBron James' son just played with him in the NBA playoffs. All right? LeBron's son is playing with him. You see, the children of many actors end up becoming actors. The children of many pastors end up becoming pastors. The children of many medical doctors end up becoming medical doctors. The children of many lawyers end up becoming lawyers. The children of many criminals, I guess, end up becoming criminals. The children of many well-developed, well-experienced people always find their path in an inherited skill, an inherited genetics, an inherited. So how early are you able to identify that and develop that? That's a pathway to discover your purpose. If there's something that is dominant within your environment, dominant within your family, it's a pointer to who you are supposed to be and what you are supposed to be doing. All right? So some people are born into families, lying of specific vocation. Why are you stressing yourself waiting for some divine encounter? When is the encounter? You have already encountered something in your family. Right? If you believe that evil is transferred from one generation to the other, and you are moving from pillar to post trying to destroy altars and things like that, how come you can't believe that destiny, or quote unquote, a particular skill, a particular dominant vocation within a family can be transferred to the next person? Another way is through the fact that, and this is one of the great things about this conversion, is that whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all thy strength and do it with all thy might. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all thy strength and with all thy might. It's another way. Do it with all thy strength. Deploy deploy your best energy, your best resource, your best mind, your best everything. Deploy it in whatever you are doing. Deploy it. That's another way. Deploy it. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your heart, with all your might, with all your strength. Don't Focus on becoming purposeful. Focus your life on becoming, focus your mind, your soul, your focus everything you have on becoming purposeful. How are you getting the best out of yourself? How do you become the best possible pastor, leader, teacher, husband, friend? How do you become the best possible person in the current roles that you're playing? The person who does who what's the word I use right now? Whatever your hand. The person who becomes the best in what his hand finds to do will always have opportunities and see greater possibilities to do more and to make more contribution and to solve bigger problems. Because if you are faithful, another way is that if you are faithful in little, you become faithful in much. If you are faithful in little, more will be given to you. If you are faithful in little, more will be given to you. Right? So you have to identify all these things, right? And this idea of being consumed by trying to figure out a purpose, to me, we need to evolve beyond that reality, right? Because how do we design the source of that inspiration, right? So by defining moments, which is very distracting, and a lot of people are stuck in waiting for their own defining moment. It's not everybody will have defining moments. You will not have a crisis moment and be like, after that crisis, I almost drowned in water. Then I realized that I'm supposed to build boats that will save people. No, it doesn't have to be that. A lot of people have defining moment like that, but not everybody will have that moment. All right. A lot of people will be born into a family where there's a dominant, or born into an environment where there's a dominant vocation. And then that becomes something you become very great at very early, and you become a genius in, and you make great, it serves your greatest interest and it helps you make your greatest contribution in the world. All right. And that's just a natural transfer of an ability into a person's life through their environment or through their family lineage, and then they become something in life. The other ones is that whatever you have plans to do, you have to do it all your might and become really great at it. Some of the greatest energies we enjoy in this world, some of the greatest benefits that makes our life better and serves our greatest interest in this life did not come from some great encounters. It came from a person who figured out that if this is the thing that is in my hand to do, I will do it to the best possible, to the highest possible height of it, and then I will help humanity solve the greatest problem with the tools in my hand. The laptops that we're using to watch this and the phones we're using to watch it did not come from some special defined encounter what they're supposed to be. No, they chose that they would solve, they identified the problem that their skill set could solve, and they pursued it with all their heart and all their might, and became faithful in it. All right. So don't get consumed by this idea of purpose discovery. That you begin to work with this like slack hand. That you begin to sit on your best self. You begin to sit on your best efforts in the name of a journey that you are on to discover your purpose. No, don't go beyond that. Let's go beyond the idea of purpose discovery and let's get into purposefulness. Whatever your hand finds to do it all thy might, with all thy strength, with all thy heart. And if you are faithful in little, and if you are faithful in another man's work, whatever your hand finds to do. Now, how do you discover purpose? Number one, through defining moments. So defining moment, a crisis, a divine encounter, whatever. Two, through an inherited vocation. An inherited vocation can be in your family, it can be your environment, it can be somebody you met who helped you learn a skill, and then that becomes something that you became really great at and you made such a contribution. All right, it can be any of these ways. It can be about just being faithful in whatever it is you are doing, and in that faithfulness, you begin to see something in that place that nobody else has ever seen, and then you deploy your more energy and more resource in that direction, and you become something that the world is going to celebrate. All right, it's about that. It's about being able to identify something in the service of humanity, based on what you are doing with all your heart and with all your might. You begin to see something. You're going to see new combination, new purpose, new success. You're going to see new ways to solve a problem because you have invested a lot of energy, and your best energy is deployed in that direction. You begin to see things there, and then you can take forward. And then if you are faithful in another man's job, If you are faithful in another man's job, you would you begin to you come into new levels of progress and new levels of possibilities being faithful in another man's job. These are the only ways you can actually identify what you're supposed to be doing. All right, doing it. The chances are that what you are doing right now is what you are supposed to be doing. My brother, how are you doing it? My sister, how are you doing it? How are you doing it? How are you doing it? That is more important than this conversation about discovering your purpose. If you are faithful in what you are doing right now, you become faithful. You will gain entrance into new levels of insight that will solve bigger problems and will put you in bigger rooms. If you are faithful in another man's work, that's the key. If you are faithful in another man's work, whatever your hand finds to do with all your might and your heart, and then it can be an inherited vocation. It can be about defining moments. Either ways, you must understand the context of your life. Whatever it is, whichever avenue purpose reveals itself to you is relevant to me. What is relevant and what you must do is you must deploy your best energy every day of your life. You must make a commitment that you will constantly be in motion, whether digitally or physically. You will constantly be in motion, and that motion will be defined by the deployment of your best self in any area, in any direction. If you're a student, especially in all the core roles that you play, all the roles that you play in life, your commitment every day must be that you will deploy your best self in the direction of your known roles before you begin to invest time and energy in identifying an unknown role. That you will define your best self, your known roles. You are a child right now. How do you define your best self to be the best possible child ever? You are a man right now. How do you deploy your best self to be the best man ever? You're a woman right now. There are men and there are women who have never read a book about what it means to be a man. Who have never read a book about what it means to be a woman. And you are 30, you are 25, you are 40, you are 50, you have never read a book, you have never gained any education on what it means to be a man. But you want to gain education on what it means to be a pastor, you want to gain education on what it means to be an engineer. No. The commitment must be that you will deploy your best self in the direction of your known roles every day of your life, and that eventually your purpose will reveal itself to you. If there's any agenda for you that is beyond your known self, it will come to you. Not that you will begin to pursue it. It will come to you. It will come to you. It will come to you. How well are you doing in your known self, in your known roles? How well are you doing in your known roles? How much energy are you deploying in the direction of what you already know? Or are you distracted every day by your unknown self that you're trying to figure out? This is the job, guys. This is the commitment, and this is the work. Whatever is in front of you, do it with excellence. Purpose does not reveal itself to idle observers. It is disclosed progressively to those who are fully engaged with the work they already have. Do what is in front of you with full effort. Your capacity grows through use. Serving another man's vision precedes owning yours. All right? Whatever is in front of you, do it with excellence. Everyone begins life with a measure of natural ability. What determines whether that ability becomes purpose is the decision to develop it, to deploy it, and to steward it with responsibility. All right? So your natural ability is the raw gift you were born with. Your intentional development is the cultivating of that gift. Your deployment is applying it critically, to create value. And then you engage at a level you get multiplied impact. And then that becomes a mighty tree that serves a larger generation. Because what people are actually looking for when they are saying they are in search of their purpose is a clear conviction and a promise of a great possibility. That's really what you're looking for. And many people have found that without any drama. Many people have found that just being faithful in what they're doing. Many people have found that by just doing another man's job, working for another person. Many people have found that by working in another person's work, and they end up becoming something else. Because what you're really looking for, the intent behind this obsession about discovering your purpose is that many people want a clear conviction about the great possibilities, great promise of wealth, and great promise of status. And many men and many women have found that without even being born again. They found that without even knowing God. They found that without even being morally sound and morally aligned. Many men and many women have done mighty things on this earth without being aligned morally, having a terrible, a weak moral act. Many people have done that. So what's the drama for? What's the drama for? If that's it. Because the big purpose of man, at the highest level of purpose in this purpose conversation, is that man will serve the purpose of God. And that purpose of God is really about obedience, serving him. And then I don't want to get into that conversation but the big purpose of man is in service of God and serving of God's highest purpose. That's the big purpose of God. I'm not talking about serving in church. I'm talking about service of God. There are two different things, really. When it comes to it, there are two different things. But when it comes down to it, that's it. But when you are talking about discovery purpose, what is in your heart is that you want convictions about great possibilities, and you want a promise that is clear to you about who you are going to become, and how big you are going to be. That's really what is in your heart. And many men and many women have done that without any drama, without any need to get careless with their life. They've done that. They've done that. So the question for you is why are we so obsessed with this conversion of purpose discovery? We should be obsessed with the conversion of purposefulness. We should be obsessed with the question of purposefulness. Purposefulness. All right. So purpose is not chosen; it's discovered, obviously. And I'll just add a few more things, and then we can call it a day. I will just add a few more things, and then we can call it a day. I will add a few more things, and then we can call it a day. All right. Please, if it's your first time joining my live session on YouTube, please subscribe. If you are live now, please subscribe. Just click the subscribe button. It's easy. It doesn't take anything to do. If you're watching this later, please subscribe. Make sure you like it and subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button now. You can also share to people to get to reach more people. Please help me subscribe, help me join, and go and just support what I'm doing as well. All right. So here are my final thoughts on this conversation as I begin to bring this to a close. All right. So I have not intended this to be really. So if you came to look for, I have not intended this to be a manual for finding your purpose. All right. Neither is it to really, disprove any material that does. Even though I fear that this will do both. Instead, I have come on this. I'm having this conversation to shift your focus to look not away from purpose, but beyond purpose. I know people who know their purpose, but still abuse themselves and the people around them. Some others know their purpose, but still lack the discipline to create any form of value, while some lack both the competence and the character required to generate any form of attention. Right? So what do you think? Right? The key word here is self-awareness. Do not limit yourself by what you have written down or why you are here, or limit yourself because you have nothing written down. Values and virtues like authenticity, discipline, and commitment and integrity, right? And wisdom and patience and capacity for leadership and management and product development and principle-centered living and alignment and love for people do not come with knowledge of purpose, but they are required for any kind of meaning or a sense of meaning. They are learned. You learn those things, and those things guarantee that you live a purposeful life on the earth more than anything. All right, and that should be your focus. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my case for you tonight. This is my case for you tonight. Right? There are ways to know this, but move beyond that. Move beyond that. Whatever your hand finds to do it with your heart, and commit to self-awareness that develops the mind. All right, and focus on deploying excellence across all your known rules. Focus every day on deploying excellence on all your known rules. All right, and purpose will find you. All right, humanity needs more solutions to problems And it is the person who is committed in what they are doing that come towards your direction. It will come in your directions. You insights you need to solve big problems will not just jump on you when you are working with a slack hand or you are sitting down idly waiting for it to come. No, no, it is he that has that more will be given. It is he that has that more will be given. You don't just sit idly and work with a slack hand and expect your life to change. No, no, no. You deploy your best self in your current and all your known roles. You deploy your best self. You deploy your best energy in that direction. And I guarantee you, right, that the world is waiting for you. The world is waiting for you. And humanity needs more visionaries. Humanity needs more solution providers. Humanity needs more thinkers. It needs more leaders across multiple sectors. All right. And the only way to get there, or at least among the ways to get there, is you can have a defining moment where you discover something from a crisis moment or from a divine encounter moment. It's one of the ways to get there. Another way to get there is that you are born into a family of means or of a dominant vocation, like actors and singers and footballers, where children of actors become that. And the other ways to get there is that you must identify all the current roles that you play, and you must deploy excellence in that direction every day. And then you must become faithful in whatever it is your hand to do, whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might. Do it like that is everything you ever need to do. And once you do that, I guarantee you that greater vistas will open up to you, and greater possibilities will open up to you, and greater energies will open up to you. Greater ideas will come to you. It will come to you. Ideas are flying everywhere. Ideas are flying everywhere. It will come to you. It will come to you. It will come to you. But you must be faithful. You cannot be weak-willed and lack discipline and thinking that you are waiting to discover your purpose. There are people here live. There are a few people here live. If you have a question, if you're live here and have a question, you can drop it. We're going to attend to it before I go off. If you're live here with us and you have a question from everything we have said, you can drop it. Please remember to subscribe. Very important. Please subscribe. Some persons can be watching or will watch and they're suffering. Okay, some persons can be watching or will watch later. They are suffering wheel paralysis. Can you explain that? What does that mean? Is there a question? If you have a question, you can just type the question. Okay, they will hear what I'm saying and be wondering. Please go ahead, fully explain what you're saying so that I can get it, so I can address it. If there's a question there, please ask it. If there is a contribution you want to make, please make it so that I can address it before I go offline, because I'm about to put an end to this. A lot has been said. I'm seeing the message, but I don't think it's complete. Some persons can be watching or will watch later. Some will say the things you are saying sound simple, but it's complex. Okay, please go ahead. Go ahead. Try and make the point in one bit so that I can address it. I like the point you're making. Please go ahead. Okay, some persons can be watching or will watch later and they are suffering wheel paralysis. They will hear what you are saying and be wondering. Some will say that the things you are saying sound simple, but it's complex. How do you help people in this bracket? That's an interesting point. How do we help people in the bracket? I have so many questions, right? Because I have to understand, how did the person become? So there are so many things that create wheel paralysis. I understand what you're saying by that wheel paralysis, right? A person's will has become weak, and there are so many reasons. One of the critical reasons that can create that kind of paralysis can be about the environment, the kind of environment the person is in, and it can be about, does the environment support movement and energy? Does the environment energize the person to make certain move and move and make most and gain motion? Another thing can be fear. Fear creates that kind of paralysis. Fear allows a person to have a weak construct of all that is possible, and the person sees so much that the person becomes weak. All right, the person that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why you cannot you can't sit down and be waiting for things to happen to you. Right, you have to be a active participator in creating and inventing your own future. All right, so I fear the kind of environment you are in, and my how I can one of something that can help such a person will have to be, it can be about changing environment. It can be about taking time to deal with that fear. All right, and the person also has to make a choice to take a first step, no matter how scary you, no matter the environment you are in. If in the end you are the one that will face the tune of that thing. All right. Now, I have a lot of questions because this is such a sensitive that conversation. This kind of question is really sensitive because you have to speak to somebody as well. You have to get a trusted voice to speak to as well. And if you are watching this and you're in this kind of position and you need to speak to somebody, you please send me an email. All right. Send an email at joshuatriumphant@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let's talk. All right. This specific kind of paralysis that has become you feel like you are pressed down either by your environment or by fear of what might happen to you, or fear of failure and things like that. And so that can be all contributing to this kind of issue and creating that paralysis where and you might have seen so many experiences of people who took a leap of faith and failed. Yeah, I see people who took a leap of faith, a leap of faith and got betrayed. You might have seen those kind of realities and makes you feel, and that kind of paralyzes you more and more. It can just even be just because of Nigeria and how our economics is, or the cost of doing anything meaningful. It can be all these things, right? So I will need to be able to identify what exactly is the cost of that, and they'll be able to begin to try and roll that back and re-educate you properly on how you need to be or where you need to get to. All right. So if you are that person or you are watching this later and you have this kind of issue, please send me a message. Let's talk directly and practically. Send me a message or send me an email on joshuatriumphant@gmail.com, and I'm going to do a correction and try to identify what you are dealing with in particular and how to resolve it. But in general, you might need to leave your current environment and try something new, have a new experience, and put yourself in a new environment where the expectations or the projections of failure and projections of assumption about you is not constantly being pointed in your direction. All right. And you're not in an environment where you constantly need permission to deploy your best energy. You're not in the environment where you constantly need permission to deploy your best energy. That's important. And you might need to, so in general, you might need to leave that environment. You might need to speak to somebody who could help you, make sense of some of these things. Or you begin to, try and internalize and inject into your soul new information that helps you optimize your life for courage. And then begin to take small steps. Don't take any big steps. Don't try to solve big problems or try to identify new things. No, no, no. Just take small steps. Small, simple, practical steps. It can be about, okay, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to make this small change. I'm going to make this small change. I'm going to make this small change. I'm going to make that small change. Just small changes here and there in your life. And then you are developing the muscles to deploy your best energy in the current roles that you play. All right? And I hope that helps. But if you need to talk to me personally, send me a message at joshuatriumphant@gmail.com. All right. If you are joining me for the first time on my YouTube live, please subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Just click on that subscribe button. It costs nothing. It takes nothing from you. Please don't watch this or rewatch this without subscribing. Please subscribe to the channel. For everybody who is on live right now, thank you so much for joining. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good night.